You're listening to Market Maker, the self-directed investing education podcast that breaks down the stock market in an easy-to-understand manner.
We've been trying something new and taken our weekly stock market newsletter and given it to AI to create this episode.
The voices you are about to hear are all AI, and it's how AI interprets our newsletter.
This is experimental, which means your feedback is important to us. Let us know if you want to hear this weekly.
And of course, subscribe to the weekly newsletter. There are visuals included in that.
In that newsletter, we cover the focus of the coming week, major highlights from the previous week, and major economic events that have potential to move the market. We say, what is this? And what does this mean for you as a self-directed investor?
So without further ado, here is your stock market update as interpreted by AI, all sourced from our newsletter. Enjoy.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive into market trends. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the Market Maker podcast. They had some interesting points about Q3 earnings, last week's market recap, and what's coming up on the economic calendar.
Yeah, they do a really good job of sort of breaking down what can be really complex topics and making it a little bit more approachable for the everyday investor.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we try to do here, too. So with that in mind, let's dive right into the first topic here. They talk about earnings season and the S&P 500 having its fifth straight quarter of growth, which on the surface sounds fantastic, but they do mention some things that we need to watch out for.
Yeah, they say that although, a 5.1% increase is generally a positive sign, it's interesting to note that fewer companies are exceeding earnings estimates this quarter. So we're seeing around 75% beating estimates compared to, the typical 5-year average closer to 80%. And then that earnings surprise is lower than usual as well, sitting at 4.6%.
So companies are performing well, just not as exceeding expectations by as much as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, exactly. It's a subtle shift, but one that, savvy investors will pay attention to. And then also adding to that, some big players in the information technology sector, like Apple and Intel, haven't performed as well as, many anticipated. And a higher than usual number of companies are issuing like what they call negative guidance for Q4, meaning they're predicting a potential slowdown.
Okay, so not a market meltdown, but definitely some signals to keep an eye on. Now, beyond earnings, Market Maker also pointed to the upcoming election as a source of uncertainty in the market. So how are businesses sort of reacting to this?
Well, think of it this way. Businesses are acting like someone who's planning a move. They're holding back on big decisions and spending cautiously, because potential changes to tax policy after the election could significantly impact their bottom line.
That makes sense. It's like putting big purchases on hold when you're anticipating, a major life change.
A perfect analogy. And here's where it gets interesting. Despite this cautionary tale, analysts are still forecasting earnings growth through 2025. However, the current forward PE ratio for the S&P 500, which sits at 21.3, suggests the market might be a bit overvalued. This doesn't necessarily signal a crash, but it's a metric to watch closely.
It's like that moment when you find a used car you love, but the price seems a little steep. You start wondering if it's really worth that much.
Well, exactly. Now, shifting gears to last week's market action, there was a big surprise in the jobs report. The economy added a mere 12,000 jobs in October, far below the anticipated 113,000.
Wow, that does sound like a significant miss. What contributed to this unexpected number?
Well, the report cites hurricanes and labor strikes as potential factors.
Yeah.
And we also saw downward revisions to previous job growth numbers, which is a normal part of the data collection process. But it does paint a slightly less rosy picture than initially reported. The silver lining is that the unemployment rate held steady at 4.1%. November's data will hopefully offer more clarity.
So one data point doesn't tell the whole story. It's like trying to judge a book by its cover.
Precisely. It's about looking at the trends and the broader context. Now let's talk about the Federal Reserve and their potential response to this jobs news. It's intriguing because despite the weaker than expected report, investors seem convinced that the Fed will cut interest rates by 0.25% at their upcoming meeting. In fact, futures trading indicates a 98% chance of a rate cut.
That's a strong vote of confidence from the market. What's driving this expectation, especially in light of the less than stellar jobs report?
Well, the decline in Treasury yields, which are essentially interest rates on U.S. government bonds, offers a clue. This drop suggests that investors are anticipating lower rates from the Fed. It highlights the Fed's delicate balancing act, stimulating growth without fueling inflation.
It's like walking a tightrope, too much of a push in either direction, and you risk losing your balance.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot.
Now, Market Maker also highlighted some key economic data releases coming up this week. So what should we be paying attention to?
Well, think of these economic indicators as, puzzle pieces, each offering a glimpse into the overall economic picture. So first up is factory orders, which provides insights into the health of the manufacturing sector. A rise in orders often signifies, business and consumer confidence, indicating potential economic growth. Conversely, a decline might signal a slowdown.
So it's not just about what's being produced, but also about anticipating future demand. What else is on the economic agenda this week?
On Tuesday, which is also Election Day, we'll get the International Trade in Goods and Services report. This report sheds light on the U.S. trade balance, indicating whether we're exporting more than we import, a surplus, or vice versa, a deficit. A large trade deficit can hinder economic growth, so a healthy balance is desirable.
It's interesting to consider how global trade dynamics play into our domestic economy. It's all interconnected, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then on Wednesday, we get the PMI composite final, which is kind of like a report card for the entire economy. This report combines data from both manufacturing and services sectors to provide a comprehensive overview of economic performance. A score above 50 suggests growth, while below 50 indicates contraction.
Okay, that's a pretty straightforward indicator to grasp. Anything else we should be watching for midweek?
Wednesday also brings the Consumer Confidence Index, which is a gauge of consumer sentiment about the economy. It's based on surveys that ask people about their current financial situation and future expectations. This is crucial because consumer spending is a major driver of economic growth.
So it's about gauging the mood of the consumers, those of us who drive a lot of the economic activity. What does Thursday hold for us on the economic front?
Thursday is a busy day, starting with the jobless claims report, which tracks the number of people filing for unemployment benefits. This report provides insights into layoff trends and overall job market health. A spike in claims can be a warning sign for the economy.
Got it. So we want to see those jobless claims staying low and steady. What else is on the docket for Thursday?
We also get the productivity and cost report, which is a measure of the U.S. economy's efficiency in producing goods and services. It tracks labor productivity and labor costs, essentially asking, are we getting more output for our input?
So it's about understanding how effectively we're using our resources. What else can we expect on this jam-packed Thursday?
Thursday afternoon brings us the main event, the FOMC announcement. This is when the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the U.S., unveils its latest decision on interest rates. They meet regularly to assess the economy and determine whether to adjust rates.
This is what Market Maker called a market-moving event. Interest rates have a ripple effect across the entire economy, don't they?
Absolutely. Raising rates makes borrowing more expensive, which can curb spending and help manage inflation. Lowering rates, on the other hand, makes borrowing cheaper, encouraging spending and investment, which can stimulate economic growth.
It's a delicate balancing act, just like that tightrope analogy we used earlier. The Fed has to weigh the risks of inflation against the need to support economic growth.
Precisely. This offers insight into potential price increases that might eventually be passed along to consumers.
So it's like a sneak peek into potential future inflation trends. We've certainly covered a lot of ground here with this economic calendar. It's fascinating to see how all these different indicators intertwine to tell the story of our economy.
It is like a tapestry, with each thread contributing to the overall picture. And remember, Market Maker emphasizes the importance of ongoing learning and consulting a financial advisor for personalized advice.
Absolutely. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge and making informed financial decisions. Yeah, it really is amazing how all these reports kind of give us a glimpse into this, complex machinery of our financial system. But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the specific companies that Market Maker highlighted. They specifically mention Amazon and Apple, two, tech giants who recently reported earnings. So what stood out to you about their performances?
Well, it's fascinating to see how these two industry leaders are navigating the current market dynamics. Amazon, for example, saw its stock soar after projecting a really robust holiday quarter. Their optimism seems to be resonating with investors, even amidst, the economic uncertainties that we've been talking about.
Yeah, it seems like they're really tapping into that persistent consumer demand, especially during the holiday season. What do you think is driving this confidence in their outlook?
Well, Amazon's aggressive growth strategy, particularly in cloud computing and advertising, seems to be fueling investor enthusiasm. They're constantly diversifying and innovating, which is a key factor in, their continued success.
Yeah, it's like they're not content with conquering one market. They're always looking for the next frontier. Now, in contrast to Amazon's exuberance, Apple's earnings report, while positive, was met with a more muted response from investors. What factors do you think contributed to this more cautious reaction?
Well, Apple did exceed earnings expectations. Their guidance for future quarters was more subdued, and that kind of tempered investor excitement. Remember, guidance is a company's prediction for future performance, and it holds a lot of weight in the market.
It's like getting a good grade on a test, but then hearing your teacher say, "But I expect even better next time." The pressure is on. So what's behind Apple's more cautious outlook? Are they facing any specific challenges?
Well, Apple's grappling with a few headwinds, including slowing iPhone sales and increasing competition in the services market. The smartphone market is becoming increasingly saturated, and Apple needs to find new avenues for growth.
It's a reminder that even tech giants aren't immune to, market pressures and evolving consumer trends. What's your take on Apple's ability to navigate these challenges?
Well, Apple remains a powerhouse in the tech world, and they have a long history of innovation. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt and evolve their product lines and services to address these challenges and maintain their competitive edge.
So we've got Amazon, the seemingly unstoppable force, and Apple, the tech titan, facing some hurdles. These contrasting stories offer valuable insights, I think, into the dynamics of the market. As we wrap up this deep dive, what key takeaway would you leave our listeners with today?
Well, I think these stories underscore the importance of delving deeper than just the headline earnings numbers. It's crucial to understand a company's overall strategy, their growth potential, and the challenges they face. Investing is not just about picking winners and losers. It's about understanding the nuances of their stories.
It's about looking beyond the surface and understanding those forces that are really driving these companies. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into market trends. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and knowledge to help you on your investing journey.
Remember, investing involves risk. There is always potential to lose money when investing in securities. MakeHER provides educational content and resources for informational purposes only. We are not registered financial advisors and do not provide personalized investment advice. Any information provided by MakeHER on our website or podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional financial advice. MakeHER is not liable for any investment decisions made based on our content.